Welcome to the game of Risk, everyone. I'm your host, OliveXC, a top player at this game. And today we are doing Tutor Tuesday, where I review a subscriber game and help them and you, the viewer, get better at the game of Risk. Today's game comes from everyone's favorite player, Poorly Played Risk. She was the very first person that I've ever done a Tutor Tuesday on. It was a really successful video. And I figured it would be good to go back to my roots and look at one of my favorite content creators. She's doing a 4-player classic fixed auto match game here, and she is the pink player in this game. What I noticed immediately with the white player over attacking in the beginning is that they're going to be a little bit dangerous because you don't know what they're going to hit, and I would try to stay out of their way as much as possible by moving the 4 inwards towards South America. With the red player now going for Africa, which is aggressive, but I don't really see anyone punishing it. I think it's actually a pretty good move on their end, assuming no one breaks them. My thinking is my only concern is what the black player might do if they choose to be breaking red. But instead, since the majority of their troops are located within Asia, their focus is going to be getting Australia, which is actually not very good for the white player. I feel like the white player, their first move should have been the Australia play, as they have the majority of their troops located there. Now, Poorly Played Risk is making an aggressive, I think, kind of dangerous move here, where she is trying to be taking over South America right away. Now, she does have an alliance with the red player. I always say try to be allied with your neighbors, so that way you each can get the benefit of owning a continent for yourself. There is a concern, though, that if the red player were to go in all the way, and hit you a lot, they would have a 9 here. They can do a lot of damage to take over the continent and move their 4 in. Yeah, you could invade, but your options would be limited as a whole. Yeah, and now we see what white should have been doing on round 1. They are no longer trying to get North America and instead are taking Australia. This is the right move, but since they did it so late, they ended up losing a lot of troops and are actually pretty behind right now. If they continue bleeding away their troops, they're going to be in a tough spot. There also is a huge risk of, as white tries invading the red player, not a good idea there. White's definitely the loose cannon and definitely a weaker player in this game. They even try invading Mallory. Poorly Played Risk, right? Like a 4-on-4, those odds are so low, you shouldn't be doing that. So is red going to retaliate and invade into white? It actually wouldn't be the worst move in the world because they're already so weak. But instead, red, I think, is doing a really nice move here. They're taking space away from the white player. And that's an important concept you want to keep in mind. As long as you're away from white, they can't invade you. But instead, red isn't trying to actually invade by slow rolling. I would actually be blitzing right away. When your odds are above 50%, in this case, a 74 is around a 90% roll, it's much higher than if you were to manual roll the dice. But given that white is proven to be not a very good friend and tends to be invading a lot, they are slowly losing everything. The only thing is with red invading, I feel like they should have recognized black's intentions given they had all of these troops here. And red could have just focused on clearing white out and then defending their borders more. Instead, they've now bled a lot of troops. Poorly Played Risk, who's focused on her main goal, which is just defending her continent, is really now in a position of strength. And she has the most troops on the board and she has her continent. The one thing I am a little concerned about is how she is building up her borders here with the red player. because red is just defending everything evenly as a whole. As white now, you see, is like a bot, right? They've already recognized that they no longer can be winning the game. But red is just making one simple attack. But you notice they're placing more on the border against poorly played risk. They don't like the build-up. And this is a common mistake a lot of new players make. They think the most important thing that you can be doing is fortifying your own borders, and then it can make it so that someone would have to really sacrifice a lot of troops in order to be invading you. Instead, what ends up happening is because everybody leaves all of their troops down together like this, tension ends up building until eventually one player explodes on the other and attacks them. So even though poorly played risk has the lead, the red player at any time could choose to hit the 10 because they're worried and they want to get the attacker's advantage, as the white bot just kind of does nothing. Very interesting move by black, by the way, to kind of be guarding the white player kill instead of taking it right away. But don't underestimate the power of cards. This actually is not a bad move that they're doing right now, because poorly played risk, she won't be hitting a 10, right? Because the equivalent army size would be 21. And the red player doesn't have access to the North America. So it's not worth it for anyone except black to be eliminating white. And once they eliminate them and get the cards, like, they're going to be fine. They're doing a really smart thing as well, because since white, it's impossible for them to trade in on 2, they're waiting for them to get the 3 cards. As they do that, they make me seem like a dummy as they try doing a 3v1 taking the continent. If poorly played risk had more of her troops on Venezuela, if the black player were to have taken over the continent, poorly played risk would have been able to get the kill a lot more easily. If all of her troops were there, she could have even placed on the 5, attacked into black, and even like gotten the kill there directly. So this 10 is just doing nothing but creating more tension between the players. And again, like, now that's a 14. Red's just going to be putting even more troops. Like, you need to fortify this 14 onto the 14 and give like red like a thumbs up and some hearts. Give a brother some love, Mallory. But with this tension building more and more, like next turn, red's going to be having a set, and red could go into you, because even though you are allied, alliances are always in name only. People should always be playing for the win. And now black gets a trade in. Will black be able to eliminate the white player? There's a total of about 10-ish troops there, so it's very likely to succeed. The 6 has to take out 3 troops. This is likely 3v1. Good job by the black player. Now they're going to be able to eliminate the white player from the game. They are on 5 cards. However, anyone that eliminates them, it wouldn't really be worth it in the end, because right now the game is pretty much even. But now we get to what I consider, I think, the critical move of this game. And poorly played risk decides that she wants to be taking North America. Now this is, I think, the critical mistake of the game. By hitting the black player this much, you're noticing that they're falling below 20 troops. I always emphasize this when telling people, 20 troops is around the kill mark where it's worth it to take someone out. And when you're also able to trade it in turn, because you will trade in an 8 or a 10 set, eliminate your opponent, and then get another 8 or 10 set. So you'll be getting the 20 troops or so that you'll be losing. And also, because of the attacker's advantage, you will also be growing in strength. And with the red player now getting 7 troops plus the 10, they just need to leave a couple of troops here in the corner, 6 or 7, put the rest here, and that's a guaranteed kill on the black player. Small pathing mistake. They have to go down to Irkutsk, up to Kamchatka, and then into Japan. I would have made this a 7 to make this a little bit more likely, But overall, because this right here is slight overkill. But the red player is recognizing their opportunity. But even if they weren't trying to be killing the black player, they just would have invaded poorly played risk extremely hard, and there's nothing that they could have done about it. And you can see red got the kill. They're now going to be getting a trade-in, and next turn they will be getting another guaranteed trade-in. 10 troop trade-in. Now all they got to do is place right on this 14, and they're going to be able to smack poorly played risk really, really hard. And unfortunately, you can see by the troop count, the red player is 20 troops ahead, multiple territories ahead. They own the majority of continents on the board. The red player, I think, will be taking this game. As I get some bad dice right there. Holy cow, that was... But you can see, even with the bad dice, they're completely fine. They are guaranteed to be holding Australia at a minimum. They got you down below 12 territories. I always say in the end game, try to take your opponent down one less than a multiple of 3. And 12 is a sweet spot. Because even though poorly played risk is doing a really good job attacking, like they're going to be able to break both Africa and South America unless they get very unlucky. And their 6 as well will be able to attack a little bit more. You can see the red player is still multiple territories ahead on 22. Even a poorly played risk does these two 2v1s, and they are successful. The red player, since they own Australia, will be getting still like 8 troops, which is more than what poorly played risk could have. And again, they get the guaranteed set. So all they have to do now is attack poorly played risk as much as possible, taking over as many continents to strain her limited resources and pull this at an advantage. The only way poorly played risk has a chance to come back from this is if she has a set on 3 and the red player does not have a set on 3 and ends up getting a poor, bad set on 5 cards. But otherwise, poorly played risk has done everything possible for herself. So remember, everyone, always keep in mind that 20 troop mark and know not to overattack and potentially give the game towards someone else. And thank you, poorly played risk, for an excellent, clean, quick game, which can provide some good lessons for everybody here. And guys, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this content. But this is OliveXC signing off.